Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Okay. Spill over. What's up, y'all? Welcome to Spilling the Beans. I am Tim Bratz, and I am up at the Legacy Lodge in Franklin, North Carolina, hanging out with our 3-year-plus veteran members of Legacy Family Mastermind. And I thought it'd be super cool to just kind of sit down with each of them and figure out what the big takeaways have been for them in business and in life and in relationships and in being part of a community like we have built, and how that's impacted them personally and in their business. And so today I'm sitting down with my good friend Ashley Martin. And what's your married name now? Faddoul?
Fat Owl, if Siri.
No. She actually got married here at the Legacy Lodge, and her husband's a rock star too, Joe. And he's actually a cousin of Fatty Bumitri, who's my chief investment officer. So we've known them for a few years now, and it's super cool to see what Ashley and her brother Jared have accomplished over the past few years of being in Legacy Family. And I want to try to extract ideas, strategies, concepts, philosophies that she's gained over the past few years and convey that to you, so that way you can take your business to the next level. So let's go sit down with Ashley. Hi, Ashley. Welcome to Spilling the Beans. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Now, it's been awesome hanging out for a couple days. We've got a great group of people here up the lodge, and I've had some really good conversations. I like the formal meeting, but I really like hanging out by the fire pit and having beers and beating you in poker and all the other games that we've all been playing. And
Third was solid.
Yeah. And so what I'd like to do is hear a little bit about your backstory, share that with how you got started in real estate, how you became an entrepreneur, how you became a business owner, and like what that journey has been like, the good, the bad, the whatever, and some of the pivotal aha moments that you've learned from being in Legacy Family for the past 3 years. Like, how has that really changed your mindset? How has it changed your relationships? How has it changed your business in a way that, like, boom, put me on this trajectory, and this really helped out? Like, I want to talk about that kind of stuff. So Let's start with your backstory. How did you get into real estate?
So it's kind of fresh out of high school. Ended up going to college mainly because my friends were going to college. My parents never pushed me to go to college. Like, if you don't know what to do, like you don't know where you want to go, don't go. Don't waste the money, because I was the one responsible for paying for it. So I ended up going to community college for 1 semester, and I'd be at home, and my dad and I would be watching HGTV.
Like not the same thing. That's funny.
Watching HGTV, and he was like, "If I was your age, I'd get into real estate."
Really?
Yeah. So
are either of your parents entrepreneurs?
No. I don't want to say no in the sense of my dad's, always been a blue collar worker, hard worker, and my mom too. But my mom has always had like an entrepreneurial spirit in a sense of that she has these great ideas and stuff, but has never created like a full business about it, like around it, but she's in the process of doing that now. So it makes me really happy to
fun.
see that. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of it has to do with like my siblings and I kind of like paving the way in a sense, and like showing her like there's more out there, which is super cool, and it's fun when you get.
What kind of business is she building?
She wants to do. She's very crafty. She always comes up with these, or kind of like the elf on the shelf. Like, she has concepts like that, like something that can blow up and be really big. Some different types of like shot skis would work. Like all these things that just genuinely like make her happy. So
I love it.
It's awesome. So my dad said that to me. And thankfully, him and my mom ended up sending me to whatever it was called, Honduras College, for my real estate license.
Oh, yeah.
So they're like, to
get your real estate license, it's like a month long and whatever.
Exactly. It was literally like 3 weeks, and then you got a crammer session. So I was licensed essentially within like 2 months. So I went through, I did that, didn't tell anybody I was taking the test, because I was so nervous. Nobody knew when I scheduled it for. Yeah. So I just like snuck out of the house one morning and went and did that. Ended up passing.
And you're 20 years old at this time, or?
Yeah, I was 20. Yeah, so I was 20 when I became licensed. So that was exciting, and it was kind of difficult because all my friends were off to college, and trying to like navigate that of missing your college experience while I was starting a career.
Right.
So.
And so you got into buying and selling and representing buyers, representing sellers? Like, what was the intent there?
I got in with the intention to basically represent anyone, like didn't really know anything on the investment side.
Did you want to invest?
I didn't.
Was that like the
I didn't have the knowledge
idea?
to invest at that time. I got into it. Eventually, I ended up with a client who owned a nail salon, wanted to own another one. So then I sold her commercial space, and then I sold her another commercial space, and she bought a house as an investment. So she was like my first full-on experience of like, wow, this is what investing looks like, and
That's
not
cool.
just investing for like a home as a flip, also investing for like her business and her future and her family. So that was really cool. But it really wasn't until 2020. So after being in real estate for X amount of years at that time, I ended up taking your commercial empire course.
Yeah.
I saw it years prior, and it was on, in person, way more money than I could afford at the time.
And so we originally got introduced because, now your husband is cousins with Fatty Bumitri.
Yes.
My chief investment officer. So you're very tight with Fatty, and he told me before you ever come out in Commercial Empire, he's like, oh yeah, like I've been trying to get my cousin's girlfriend to come out or plug into something, or like trying to get her out of the realtor world and get her into the investment world, and she's just, I don't know, not taking.
I wasn't connecting the dots. I remember this conversation distinctly. We were at a Christmas party, and he's explaining this to me. He's explaining what you're doing, and I just, it wasn't adding up. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. So he had talked about it, and then you had started doing Commercial Empire, like virtually, and I forget how much it was, like $500 or $100, and I'm like, I can afford this, and it's crazy to say like, oh, I couldn't afford it, and you look back on it now, it's like I couldn't afford not to,
right?
So I wish I would have done
Good perspective.
I wish I would have done it years prior, and I know that's how everybody feels, and hindsight's 20/20, and you live and you learn. But took that, and it completely completely flipped my world upside down. Like with residential real estate, I enjoyed it. Like it was fun. It's fulfilling. I still do it actively, but I never saw a light at the end of the tunnel, and that was like the biggest thing for me is like, what's the end game for me? So after taking Commercial Empire and just seeing like what else was out there, and almost just the opportunities and to how you can partner with other people, and the little knowledge I did have on investing before, that's your money, you couldn't use other people's money. So I'm like, I don't have that kind of money. How am I going to be an investor? I could never be in that position. So after watching you guys on the screen and everything, it was like a game changer. And I remember messaging Fatty. I'm like, do you think this is worth doing? Because at the end, you guys had mentioned Legacy Family, or Legacy Boardroom at the time.
Right.
Because I really wanted to do it. And he's like, yes, I would 100% do it. Like, if you're going to be going all in and fully dedicated, I'm like, I will be fully dedicated to this. Like, this is like the light that I've been waiting to see in real estate. I was in the right space. I just was not in the right lane, essentially. So I ended up positively peer pressuring my brother, is what I call it. Texting him and being like, hey, will you do this with me? Like, we get to have 2 members. We'll split the cost. It's only X amount of dollars. I was like, we need an answer. We need it now, or else the price is going to increase.
But here's the thing. We hold strong to that. Some people are prostitutes where they just extended. I'm getting messages from somebody who was like, oh, we extended Black Friday. It's like 2 weeks after or whatever it is. Like, how are you still extending pricing? That's like, we give a discount if you come out to the event, and that's how we stand. And so anyways, it would have gone up.
Exactly.
So I'm glad you signed up when you signed
That makes me feel better.
Yes.
Because part of me is like, oh man, but what if it doesn't go up? Or it does go up. So I ended up getting him on board, and it was great. And we were just ready to kind of hit the ground running. That was the end of October, beginning of November, I believe. So we kind of were getting our ducks in the row, and we said we're just going to hit it hard at the beginning of the year. We are going nonstop. We wanted to get our first property by the Austin Summit, which I believe was in April.
April of 21.
April of 2021, and we did, and it was still during the COVID times and stuff, and we were actually using the MLS. So we weren't doing anything too crazy. We weren't going out, we were looking for off-market deals, but this one
think about
happened.
This. We want to go find motivated sellers. Where are there more motivated sellers than on the MLS? Somebody who said, I want to sell this, found an agent, signed paperwork, got their house ready or get their property ready, and then marketed it. those are motivated sellers, you know?
Meanwhile, a lot of people are just like, oh, the motivated seller, but where's those off-market deals?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I got this house off the MLS in March, April of 2021.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Like, it's insane, right? But anyways, that was a quick tangent. But I think it's an important thing to mention because everybody thinks they have to go somewhere else in order to find these things. It's like it's in front of you all the time. And you're a realtor and you have intimate knowledge of the MLS and how to navigate it, and you found a great deal, a smoking deal on the MLS.
Yeah, and you honestly, you don't have to overcomplicate it. And I think, and we have a tendency to do this, we still do it. It doesn't have to be like that difficult. You can get really good deals off market, but that doesn't mean that there's not good deals on the MLS. And like you said, there's already motivated sellers, so why not work directly with them?
Agreed.
And sometimes if they end up overpricing them, that's when you have the best opportunity, you know, to bring it down. And that's what happened in our case. So it was listed, I think they had it listed at like $300,000 through a commercial brokerage, and then they ended up dropping the price, listing it with a residential agent. It was still like $250 at that time, and we met with the agent to view the property, and we're just asking if there was any flexibility, essentially, and she said that there was, and of course at that time, a million other people are now interested.
Yeah,
you know how that works.
Yeah.
Like they don't have
multiple offers, highest
exactly.
and best this week.
Exactly.
In the next 30 minutes.
So in that case, that's exactly what happened. But there was cash offers on the table. So a little like less than what we were willing to offer. We ended up offering like 173, and they had a cash offer for 150 that they were willing to take, but because they wanted to just be done with it. And we're like, no, we'll give you a little bit more because it's worth that to us, but give us 2 months to close, and we ended up being able to close a commercial property with all inspections and everything within a month.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, it was amazing. So we went through all of that, closed actually, and I don't advise anybody to do this, but we didn't even have official zoning approval because the board meetings are set like X amount of weeks.
So you were
behind.
changing the zoning because you turned it into an event space, right?
Exactly. Oh yeah. So we ended up changing into an event space. Our intended use was originally for apartments, but then once you look at like the demographic, population, all types of things, it just wasn't adding up. We're like, this is not a place that Lodi, Ohio is not a place that you necessarily would be building apartments, at least not at that time. So it used to be an old opera house. So we really sat down, we're like, what's its highest and best use? And our families like joked around about having a wedding venue space. So we ended up, going forward with it being a wedding venue.
I think that's so cool because there's a lot of unique properties. Like there's churches that go empty. They gotta sell them. They'll sell them very cheap, and you can turn
Already
them into
have
something
the space.
cool. I'm an investor in a Masonic temple that went vacant, and somebody bought it for $70,000. It's this huge Masonic temple in Ohio City.
Oh wow!
Right on Franklin Circle, and it turned it into a rock climbing gym, right? Like. So if you can figure out ways to get creative in repurposing like really unique assets, you can make some great money because you bought it so inexpensively, and the wedding venue revenue can be so substantial. Like you can make a really good margin. Now, how has it been? Because you're not really, you're both a real estate owner and you have a business, right? Like I think some people think, I'm going to get into residential assisted living because it's a real estate thing. No, it's a business and it's a piece of real estate.
Exactly.
And I think it's really important for people to understand and differentiate the two. Yeah, you can make more money, but it's an active business. How has that, impacted things like? Do you like doing that? Do you wish you just rented it to somebody else who had a wedding venue or?
Honestly, I really enjoy it. What's made this process a little bit easier because, people might look at us and be like, oh my gosh, you're crazy. You're just going to open up a wedding venue. It's a 2-story building. So we have a hardware store tenant that has been there for over 35 years, verbal lease, pays next to nothing.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. It's all fine. But it's nice because at least there's that stability there. We haven't talked about rent increases or any of that because we're just grateful to have him there. He's an asset to the city and all to the village, and it's been good. So that helped us to be able to go in there and actually do all the renovations and make the space what we wanted it to be. We never wanted to be like business owners. We just wanted to own real estate. So our kind of like loophole for that is we own the space, like we own the whole building. We provide tables and chairs, a beautiful, bridal suite, groom's loft, custom built bar, just the whole essence of everything, and we really it's beautiful. It's our tagline is historic, industrial, elegant.
I like that.
Yeah, and it was perfect. And so we just like kind of like took that and like rolled with it. We're like, we don't need to, again, overcomplicate this. We don't need to be doing everything. I don't want to be the one that's getting reprimanded by the brides and on the Google reviews saying food tastes like shit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want that.
Yep.
Your liquor is overpriced. Those cupcakes suck. No. It's not worth the headaches to us. And
That's a smart way of looking at it, right? Because now you can ensure that you have good Google reviews because all you have to do is provide the space.
exactly.
You know?
So as long as nothing, and that was our whole mentality around it. Can we make way more money doing it that way? 100%. But you have to ask yourself, is it worth the headaches? And to us, it wasn't. So we decided to go that route because the only way we could get bad reviews, realistically, would be if our AC went out. You know, we weren't able to fix it, you know, before the event. And knowing ourselves, we would do everything in our power to make sure that didn't happen.
Yep. So I think it turned into more of a project than you expected it to be.
It did.
Right? And so I think a lot of people think, let me buy it, and then I'll keep on buying other things. You guys said, oh, well, we got to pay attention to this thing, right? And it turned into more of a project, and it usually does.
Yes.
And I think that's a good learning lesson for a lot of people is or an expectation setting for a lot of people is realizing that you don't just buy it and then you move on to the next deal. Like you have to buy it to stabilize it. You got to turn it into a real business.
Yeah.
You have to make sure it generates revenue. You got to do those things. And so it then like delays the timelines, and then you feel like you're behind the clock, and everybody else is moving forward, and you're not. But it's like it's part of the process, right? And you're hard on yourself because of that. But at the same, like I haven't bought anything in 2 years. I think I haven't bought anything in 2 years because I've been focused on operations, right? I've been focused on that. I've been focused on making sure current assets are performing and performing well and creating the value. And when value is being sucked out from interest rates and being sucked out from insurance costs and labor costs and supply costs and everything else going up, it's even more important to focus on the operations. So you guys focused on those operations. And I know it was like, I want to be doing more. I want to be acquiring more. I want to be doing all that stuff. And it's like you know, you beat yourself up over it, but I think you did the right thing the whole time.
Yeah, and it was tough, and that was a tough pill to swallow because you know you set these expectations in your head like, oh yeah, we can knock this out in 6 months. Renovations will be done in 6 months, and next thing you know, like 2 years has gone by, and you're like, holy shit, how did this happen? Like
over budget, over timeline, more in holding costs, like didn't make any revenue. Also, like it's all of it ends up coming in together, and it's a very, very stressful thing to do.
It is. And hindsight's 20/20, and you can go back and wish you would have done things differently. But we went through a lot of growing pains, and we ended up, my brother Jared and I, who's my business partner, our 2 other siblings bought into the business, so that Justin and Jacob.
How's it like working with family? What would you tell somebody who's interested in working or partnering either with a very good friend, like a good buddy going into business together, or a family member?
Communication is key, 100%. And you have to over communicate with family because I feel like they, expect it.
What's a best practice on that? Like, are you getting on a phone call every day?
We have weekly phone calls. So, we don't have them as much anymore now that we're up and running. But at the time, we'd have weekly phone calls to see like what we've accomplished, kind of goal setting of what's going to be, what's the next steps, how are we moving forward on this, and we keep track of those on phone calls, and then also we have a group chat that will like text going back and forth. And but the best.
Do you attack the hard conversations, or do you think
we do?
You just let them kind of solve themselves.
You have to attack the hard conversations.
For sure.
That shit might work with just a random partner that you don't know too much about, and you don't want to step on any toes.
Yeah, it never
but
works.
As family, it's like I'm going to step on your fucking toes.
Exactly.
I don't need to, but I'm going to, because it boils down to it's a lot of cooks in the kitchen type of thing. But after you're done with it, it goes to the mentality of like, man, after sitting back and relaxing and everything being like up and running, it's like that wasn't that bad. I'm ready to get hurt again.
Yeah.
What's the next one?
Isn't it amazing how quickly your memory fades?
Yeah.
It's so bad in the moment, And you always think it's better than it actually was.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
it was like, oh, I can do that again. Like I learned my lesson. It wouldn't happen a second time.
Oh,
right?
no,
it would
no,
never
no.
happen a second time.
We can communicate
Yeah.
better. And that's gone through my, my mind too, because obviously we have hopes for the future. And I think it really just boils down to like, how do you communicate with each other? And I'll never forget, even at the Austin Summit, we were saying how our family wanted to buy into it. And just, some people are like, I wouldn't do it, like, don't allow it. But it goes back to the saying of like, if, you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And what's better than doing it with your family?
Right.
I love my brothers. I want to fucking kill them half the time.
Yeah.
Nobody can be mean to them besides me. I'm the only one.
You're not allowed to talk to my brother that way. Only I can talk to my brother that way.
That's 100% how I am.
So what does the next 12 months look like, right? Like we're up here, we're goal setting, we're thinking about, we're reflecting on the past 12, 30, 36 months really. And now we're projecting forward. What does the next 12 months look like? What would you like it to look like?
So with this venue, I want to get it in our mind, like almost like fully stabilized. And to me, that would be like primary wedding season from like May to October. Having at least, 2 weddings a month would be pretty achievable. Right now, we have a handful of bookings for next year based on very minimal marketing. And so once we decide to like really go full speed ahead on that, I can only imagine like what we could accomplish.
Light that up, right? Like go on that.
Yeah.
Generate as much revenue, and then once it's booked up, then you look at the next business, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, I want to grow, so I'm going to go look at another company to buy, or I'm going to go find another property to buy. It's like the best investment, there's multiple levels of this, but best investment's always in yourself, your relationships, your mindset, like those kinds of things, because that can never leave you. The second best investment in my mind is in your existing business that you already own, and throwing more money at that in marketing dollars, right?
Yeah.
Instead of you taking 50 grand and buying another property, I'd rather see you take 4 grand a month and roll it into marketing in order to fill up as much revenue as possible in an existing property that you own. And then they take that revenue and roll it into this other deal over here,
Yeah, and that's really what I've been focusing on, and it's difficult because you get distracted and you want to be focusing on other things. So now that like our marketing is a little bit more full force and we're getting up and running, the next 12 months, ideally, I would like to acquire at least another wedding venue. But in a perfect scenario, it would be a hybrid model. So it would be some type of beautiful Airbnb type of like estate that can either be rented for Airbnb, like the beautiful Mountain House, and can be used as a wedding venue. So we have multiple exit strategies, depending on if one's working, one's not. Airbnb gets canceled out of nowhere, and that type of stuff. But that would be like the perfect goal to provide a unique space, because that's what people love.
Here's the thing though, like you're looking for the ideal property. Here's something else you could do. You could buy an Airbnb that's not attached to this wedding venue because you got a great deal on it, some new wedding venue and some other Airbnb, but you raise money in a parent company that owns both of those.
Okay.
Right? So now it's like, it doesn't have to be the property that's multi-tenanted, right? It can be the fund that has multiple properties, so it diversifies the risk, but it doesn't have to be all in one property. So now it's not like this, pinnacle property where it has to be perfect. It's like, oh, okay, well, I can still mitigate risk and have multi-tenant, multiple sources of income by raising the money and structuring it where this asset owns multiple properties and doing it that way. So I think just thinking outside the box on some of that stuff, because I know like your brother, he's an engineer, and so like he's just so analytical on some things that he's like, this is the myopic version, this is the only way that it works. It can work in other ways, but you got to get kind of outside the box because sometimes it's tough, But he's super smart, and he's like very good at it, because I'm a leap, right? You need that person on your team to be like, you need to analyze it. Let's take a look at the downside. But then this person, like playing off of each other, like the way that you guys do a good job on that. So no, I think that's smart. Dive deeper into your existing business, and then once that's all booked up and you have proof of concept and you have all these positive reviews and you have all this revenue that comes in, you can refinance it. Yeah. Because now you have the business income. Now you can go get financing, pull a little bit of cash off, and then go and buy something else.
And even after COVID, we realized obviously like weddings were going to be are backed up. Some people had to cancel that whole thing. A lot of people were just cutting down in size and still putting them on. They just wanted more space, and that the smaller like boutique venues, we felt like there was going to be a niche market in. So that's really where we shine, is like the more like intimate size weddings, and that's a space that we're definitely interested.
I love it. I love it. All right, final question. How's your life changed by being part of Legacy Family? Your mindset, your philosophies, your relationships, like what has been a big differentiator for you over the past 30? I know you mentioned like everything changed, like it opened up your eyes on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Give me one more.
So other than literally just, reiterating that I already felt like so much was possible, like in life, this was just took it, like I felt like this was possible and this was like the top, like I could make it here. But after being around everyone in Legacy Family, it's like, no, this is the top and this isn't even the top,
Levels upon levels, always.
And it's just never ending. It's inspiring. That would be like the perfect word I would use to describe Legacy Family, because you're around people and it's not just real estate, it's business, it's so many, like it's a diverse group of things. And sometimes it's health, it's the fitness aspect, or it's just like mental and your meditation and your general well-being, or it's your family. And here it's all those things, it's a combination of everything. So everybody tends to like focus on like one of those things in their life, and then another one suffers. Being a part of Legacy Family, and like especially going to the summits and all the panels and speakers and everything, it's always just so well-rounded. And the people in the group, that has been like the huge benefit, because it's not only allowed me to like focus on my business and focus, not just for me, like growing it for my husband, for my family, for my siblings. Like I don't want just a lot for myself. I want this for my siblings. Like that's part of my why, is like, I'm not just going to make it. Every single one of you better make it, or I'll feel like I failed, So just,
I mean, that's a cool part. It's like, it shows the kinds of givers that are part of the mastermind, right? Everybody cares so much about other people. There's always a bigger purpose. There's always a bigger why that's out there. That's like the driving force, because and that's the kind of people. It's not just about, I want to make a boatload of money for myself. It's like, no, I want to make an impact. And real estate or business or entrepreneurship is the tool to help me make that impact. And it's it's just super cool, super inspiring to hang out with everybody this week, and everybody who's upstairs and outside, just having good conversations around the campfire and over some drinks, and
it was amazing. You were like the last few days, just getting to know everybody on like a deeper level, getting to meet some people that have been in the group that don't get to see too often. It's been amazing, and it was definitely like a deeper emotional level. And it's really like a family, like judgment free, nobody ever holds anything against you. It's just, you can ask for, like, you say Legacy Family.
We bust each other's chops a lot,
oh,
right?
100%,
because it's like a family.
exactly. We step on each other's toes a lot, just like siblings, but it's a family. So like, it's not just a name. Like everybody like really like lives by it and like breathes it. And that's been like one of the biggest like takeaways. It's like when we say it, like we mean it. Like this is a family. Like everyone's joking around, everyone's busting each other's chops. Like everybody just wants to help and like be there for each other. Like what you expect. And for some people, this is people's legitimate family, and it's shown them that.
Knowing that you have that level of support gives you a level of confidence to then go into the marketplace and take bigger calculated risks, right? And
100%.
And think bigger, and know that it give you a level of confidence to go out and do big things, and know that you've got this community, right, to support you.
Like it's not just you, like it's not you, like you have everybody backing you, and that is so huge. And that was so huge for Jared and I, and now our other siblings, Justin and Jacob, because if it wasn't for Fatty, I remember showing up at his house. I had my laptop. I was basically chasing him around to look at this wedding venue. He's like, nope, I'm not interested. I'm like, Fatty, please, just like give me the time of day. And he's like, nope, I think it's a bad idea. And I'm like, just take a look. So finally he looks and he's like, buy it. And like, if it wasn't for him being like, no, this is a good idea, helping, me brainstorm, and like my husband's support and our family's support, who knows, you know?
Yeah.
And then the support of Legacy Family, hopping on the calls throughout the week and just being able to ask any questions, like Matt, like with contractors and renovations, and like Scott with HR, Fatty with all the legal stuff. I think he literally went through my whole contract with me on one of the calls.
That's great.
It's amazing. And Nick with acquisitions of where to look. It's amazing. Like,
Awesome.
It really is such a great group.
Well, I appreciate you. I'm excited to see what the next 12 months looks like. And you know, we've laid the groundwork on a lot of good. You made such big progress. We're always, you know, we want to be further ahead than we always are, right? And
Oh, yeah.
and that's totally normal. But you guys have, you know, when you sit here and you look back at what has been accomplished in the past 36 months, it's amazing, right? Like, you built an amazing business. You got some great properties, a bunch of equity that you built up over it.
For sure.
You've created some remarkable relationships that are going to pay big dividends, right? Like, moving forward. So it's exciting to see what you've done over the past 36 months. Can't wait to see what it looks like over the next 36 months.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Hey, appreciate you being here on Spill the Beans. We are here every Sunday sharing entrepreneurial information with you about how you can take your business, whether that's a real estate business or traditional business, to the next level. So I appreciate you being here. Please subscribe to our channel. Give me some takeaways, some great takeaways in the comments section below. We'll see you next week on Spill the Beans.